16 hours. A rich man's world. I have turned the soul of this beautiful land, but the beauty a rich man's world. I have turned the soul of this beautiful land, but a rich man's world. man's world. I have turned the soul of this beautiful land, but the
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Trey Ferk, the player coach. I want to salute to all the veterans, those that keep us safe around the world. Hope that you're able to make it home to your families. Again, I pray that all veterans and all military personnel are safe. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me. I present to you Trey Ferk, the player coach. I hope y'all can hear me. Hope there's no echo today. Going to see if I can hear myself. I just have to come on because it was something that was near and dear to me that's happened over the last few weeks, over the last few days. Now that it's summertime, families are outside, people are trying to enjoy themselves, picnics are happening, summer birthdays are happening. It's a lot of things going on. And just over the last few weeks, it's been something that's really been disturbing. And, I'm just really concerned about how our youth, how our young adults, young people are going to be able to move forward in this chaotic society that we currently live in. Again, it's just been on my heart to really just, speak to this effect that's really happening. Again, it's just something that's been on my mind the last few days, and just watching the news and watching specifically news from around the country, how people are being affected, lives are changing for the worse, per se. And I just hope that, I can just provide something that could assist someone get to a better space, whether it be the parent, whether it be the child. Just sit back and just bear with me today. You see the title, I'm a parent, you're a parent, we are parents. And it's nothing to take digs at anyone, because I can say for myself that I'm definitely not the best parent, never have been the best parent. I've been, I would say, an a-hole to my children. They could probably say that. They could probably say there was times that I didn't understand what they were going through. They could probably say that I was a little overbearing. They could probably say I was a little bit, laxed. I was, a parent. There's no manual on how to be a great parent. A lot of it is you learn as you go. And there's nothing wrong with that, because once we have a child or a woman has a child, then you pretty much learn it as you go. People may give you suggestions, ideas on how to be a parent, but for the most part, you're going to take those experiences and apply them to yourself, and just try to, be the best parent that you can be. Specifically, why I wanted to do this video, because there was, about 2 weeks ago, there was a retired police officer. Actually, he had retired from the police force, and I believe he went to work for another company in security. And again, a gentleman in his 70s, very intricate part of the community. He's been vested in the community for years. Although he worked on the police force, which is very rare today, there's somebody that protected the community, but also stayed in the community and wanted to be an intricate part of improving the community. And however, just 2 weeks ago, two young men, I believe 17 and 19, approached this gentleman, tried to rob him, unfortunately. And of course, him being a former police officer, understood the importance of protection. he tried to put his weapon out, and it's unfortunate because the gentleman, the two young men, I know one had pulled out a weapon also, and they took his life. So yes, as we can see in our community, we still struggle with violence amongst ourselves. There is no age limit on the violence. We lose a lot of children to violence. We lose a lot of young adults, middle-aged adults, and senior citizens to basically unnecessary violence. And it's just unfortunate in our community that, we go about life in this capacity. A lot of us, hope and pray that we can go out each day when we leave our homes, whether it's going to work, going to the mall, going to an event, going to visit family, friends, or just taking a drive around the cities that you reside in just to, just to enjoy the view sometime. And we all hope and pray, I would think, that we can make it home safely to our families or just back to our humble abode by ourselves without being harmed, without harming someone else, without any accidents. And it's just unfortunate that here we are in 2024, as we say, we are probably fighting more than any other time in our history. People have been able to express their traumas and their difficulties, either as children, young adults, and those frustrations sometimes can boil over to someone can be hurt very badly or lives can be taken. And one of the gentlemen who was a part of this shameless crime was, I think, 17, 18. And I believe he was on probation at the time. And he really shouldn't have been outside in the area at all. It's just unfortunate, a lot of our great citizens' lives are being taken for pennies on the dollar. And it's just unfortunate. Again, it's just unfortunate. So with that, when I was actively working with young men and young women, I would hold parent meetings and parent meetings, yes, where I would invite 10, 12, 15, 20 parents of the children that were a part of my, I would say, part of my mentoring program. I would invite all that were involved. I typically had each year about 50 to 60 students, depending on how many students were identified by staff, teachers, administration, or just students interested in wanting to be in the program. Those students range from students that were excelling academically, also students that may have been struggling academically, also students that were struggling with behavior, struggling with attendance, and struggling with some delinquency issues within the community. So those students were identified to me. They would be, for the most part, with their referral to me, I would provide consents for all to have signed by their parent and come back if they wish to be a part of the program. Often, as I gave the consent form to them, I would notify the parent while the student was there. So the parent would be aware of what the student has, they could read over it, or if they needed me to explain it to them over the phone once they received it, I would explain it to them. And 9 times out of 10, parents signed it. If a parent didn't sign it, then more than likely that student's issues were beyond school. The parent understood what the child was against, or may not have understood, but they tended to, during those particular situations, just sort of be hands off. And then a lot of times those students that were struggling really, really badly about whatever was going on in their lives, they seemed to disappear. A lot of times they stopped coming to school. They may have had an incident in the community that they really had no control over. It may have caused them to, continue to have issues with the law, have issues with their parent. Sometimes students would run away. And, those were things that were outside of my control. But about 95% of the time, maybe 98% of the time, if I handed out 50, 60 consents, I would typically get back 50, 48, 59 consents, which in turn afforded me the opportunities to sit down with young men. And the target group for me within the schools was, if I was in a grammar school, it was 6th grade through 8th grade. And within high school, it was freshmen and sophomores. And then there was some reinforcement for juniors and seniors, of course, because now they're thinking about colleges and careers. So it would shift from just the actual socio-emotional piece to now we looking at how can we advance our lives through careers and trainings and vocational schools, military, obtaining job skills that would be geared towards maybe the juniors and the seniors. So I had an opportunity to meet with parents. I would invite them maybe the first semester of the school. I would have an actual parent, it's called a parent meeting. We would cover various topics. And I always sort of approach that with the anticipation of assisting parents becoming, I don't want to use the word better, but just becoming more aware of how to manage their children, especially teenage boys, how to just understand some of their behavior issues, how to navigate them, assist parents on how to be more engaged with the school, even more engaged in their child's, I would say, just socio-emotional improvement. And I really, really was surprised about the responses that I received. It made me feel very proud about the work that I was doing. I would try to hold 2 events a year. The first event, of course, parents, they're pretty motivated early on. Those that were really engaged in the development of their children academically. When I would send out the invites, sometime I would have to call specifically. Sometime I could give the invite to the student. They would give it to the parent. The parent could RSVP. And for the most part, I would average about 12 to 15 parents out of 50 to 60 students. To me, 12 to 15 was a great number for me, because if I could get those 12 to 15, and they could always invite somebody, whether it was a loved one, a father, mother, grandmother, and I would reach out to any parent that I had information on. Although there was parents, that were not together, they were actively raising their child together, and both would be on the contact information, the mother and the father, grandmother. I would reach out to each individual. Of course, sometimes people would say they come and then they wouldn't show up, which was perfectly fine. That did not stop the show. That did not stop the show. And a lot of times between the time from the invitation and the actual event, some parents may have gained employment, living situations may have changed, and it was no, shaming or knock on the parent at any point. It was always my intention to try to assist the parent into just being better, have a better understanding of the emotional changes that students go through, having a better understanding of how to assist our, children just to be, in a better space. Again, I would always let them know it's not about me and saying you did a bad job or anything like that, because again, I was a parent. I didn't have all the answers. I didn't know what to do a lot of times, but I would try to at least uh, find information that could help myself have a better understanding of how to raise children. And again, part of the program was to not only assist the student, but to assist the parent to just be better in everything that we do. How can we make things right for ourselves, for our children? Again, it was all about the future of the children. It was all about improving lives, not just within the school, but also within the home and the community. So that was how the program ran. I actually participated in that program for 8 years. And I would say from 50 to 60 students each year. I'm not sure what that number is. 50 times 6. There you have it. You would say, but that's 300. Yeah, that's 300. So 8 would be 800. But also, I was allowed to go to different schools, similar numbers. And during the summer, again, there was always opportunities for students to continue those type of programs. So during the summer, it went from typical students that are in high school to convicted felons. And really quick, just one example. One summer, I had about 300 individuals, 18 to 24, who all had felonies. All had felonies. And of course, the conversations were a little different because a lot of these young men had struggled for years just about their social emotional state, their behavior, relationship with their parents, getting in trouble with the law within the community. So, it was a really eye-opening experience for myself. It was really enlightening for myself because for some reason, I enjoyed getting in those spaces with those young men and just digging out the garbage. I enjoyed that for some reason. And initially, of course, it comes down to building those relationships. It comes down to being consistent, having a consistent message, answering the tough questions. So a lot of young men tend to get to a space in their mind where they like, F it. Ain't nobody caring about me. I'm going to do everything I have to do for myself. I'm going to get it how I get it. And whatever happens in between, so be it. I will accept it. And it's unique for me because, again, I was in those spaces not knowing what could happen to me, not really even thinking about it, not really caring. And when I showed up, the one thing that I could recognize, that I recognized early, was that I can't put my feelings in what they're going through. Meaning, if they're going through something really terrible, if they are struggling with something, I can't say, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. I never approached it that way. I don't know where it came from, but I always approached it where you can be doing these things. You have the ability to do certain things. And it took some time, couple of weeks, couple of months, before those behaviors started to change. Those thought processes started to change. And in digging those issues out of a lot of the young men, they would discover that, one, they're not alone in how they feel. They're not alone in what they've seen, what their experiences are. And it could be guys that they never spoke to, or they may have had issues with. But when they were able to get into that circle and start airing those things out, a lot of times we would realize we went through the same things. And that sort of created a bond, which was really unique. Because you can take guys in two different neighborhoods, they go to the same school. For years, those neighborhoods or blocks, so-called, may have had issues, may have had beefs. And by them being young, they can only go by what's being said to them, what's being told to them. So they would fall victim to that. And then when I was able to get them into a space together and we start airing things out, talking about certain things that affect both parties without even knowing, a lot of those relationships changed. Sometimes they became the greatest of friends. And by them having those similarities in their life experiences, they were able to start holding each other accountable, which was very unique for me, because now I don't have to say as much. I can sort of step back and just guide them through the process as they come to a new stage in their lives. And it was great. It was great for me. It was great for me. And for me also, when I had to go out into the community and I would see these young men, although they may have, I never told them, stay away from your friends. I used to always tell them, sometimes you just tell your friends a little story that you can't do it. But I never said, stop doing this, stop doing that. I always told them to think about it. How can they be affected? How will it affect their families if they're not there? And for the most part, everybody loved their family members. They didn't want to be away from their family. So when we would have these conversations, it was so unique because now they're able to step outside of their condition and allow themselves grace, allow themselves to receive information that could assist them. It may not be information that they could use specifically at this moment, but a lot of times 2-3 months down the road, they could come back and have a discussion about something that was discussed months before and how they applied that information to the situation that is current, and it changed their life. Students that were failing started to improve their grades. Students that didn't come to school often started to come to school more. Attendance improved. Students that were in trouble with the law may have had some cases pending. Once those community stakeholders, the probation officer or the truancy officer, whoever was involved in that student, once they started to get the reports of the students' improvement, a lot of those issues started to go away. Some students had their sentences commuted or vacated. If they were on house arrest, they were able to get off house arrest. So it was very, fulfilling for me that I could just be a part of assisting young men just be better, and I think that from what I've seen going from that time to today, I don't know if young mothers, parents are getting certain, I would say, nuggets, certain, are provided certain information so they can utilize it to assist them in raising their child, becoming a better parent in whatever capacity. Again, there's no book that says how I can be a perfect parent. You can find some material out there that says how to be a perfect parent, but is it written for you, or is it just written based off someone else's experience? However, that information can be very vital if you can apply it to your life. Not everything, some things you're able to apply it because every year a child grows, every year a child's getting older, but it's important to ensure that as that child grows, as they get older, that they having the emotional balance. So when they are faced with a difficult situation, they understand how to navigate through that. And this was my only reason for this video. Again, there are a lot of great parents, single mothers, y'all doing your fucking thing. Single fathers, y'all doing your fucking thing. Children, raising other children, y'all doing your thing. So for me, I found it important to always just try to continue to add to my tool belt just to be a better parent, a better person. So I have a list of types of parents that I'm going to be going through and just explaining a little bit about the types of parents. There are several types of parents that at some point we may or may not fit in that category. And at some point, we may just get to a certain category and be there. And not all are good, not all are bad. It's just information that we could use if we have school-aged children, even young adults, that we can assist them in how to navigate life, the difficulties of life, the complications of life, the joys of life. And I always, wanted to just do my part in just getting the information out there. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, please hit the like, share, subscribe to Trey Ferg at the Player Coach. Hit the like, share, subscribe to Trey Ferg at the Player Coach, ladies and gentlemen. So what I'm going to do is going to go down my list of parents. I always like to start with the worst first and then finish with, the best. Start with the bad, end with the good. So, ladies and gentlemen, please help me into introducing the uninvolved parent. Introducing the uninvolved parent. This parent is called the neglectful or uninvolved parent. And believe it or not, this is a technique some parents adopt with their children, which is probably the most difficult one to navigate through as a parent, and the one that would probably have the least favorable results for our children. So, just to go down the list and asking the question, do any of these statements sound familiar? You don't ask your child about school or homework. They can figure that shit out. They the ones in school. I don't have time for that. Do you rarely know where your child is or who they're with? When they go outside, do you question them where they're going? Or do you just allow them to go outside and roam freely without any restrictions? Do you spend much time with your child? Well, when we at home, they in their room playing the game, I'm in my room watching TV. No. Are you spending time with your child? Are you providing a space where both of you all could be and have discussions? Some good discussions per se, some bad discussions. Are we able to talk about things that's going on with my life as a parent and your life as a child? Please excuse the noise in the back. That's my doggie. She's over there eating a bone and she's making noises. So if you can hear it, I do apologize. You don't spend much time with your child. The child is pretty much left to their own devices. They can go in their room, shut their door, be in there for hours without any one checking on them to see if they're in a great headspace, see if they're doing anything illegal, watching inappropriate materials on their phone, on their tablet, on their computer. So just be mindful of that. You don't have any rules or expectations. Some parents actually don't have any rules. They allow their children to just figure it out. It's unfortunate that it happens with a lot of boys sometimes. You know, it happens with females and women, young women also, but a lot of times what I've seen when a boy reaches high school, the parent sort of steps back, allow the child or the young man or young woman to just figure it out. They don't have time to come to the school. They're not going to say anything about the curfew times that's been set by the city or the state for children. They can come in the house whenever they want. On school nights, weekends, there's no expectations. You know, you go to school, you go to school. You don't, you don't. You know, there's no expectation. You know, I'm not coming to the report card pickup. Some parents actually feel that way. So if those statements sound familiar, you might be an uninvolved or neglectful parent. Uninvolved or neglectful. Again, the word neglectful. It's important to show up at important events at your child's school. It's important. Report card pickup, parent-teacher conference, open house. It's important to show up because you'll be able to have conversations with teachers, administration. You may find out about other students who may be bullying your child, or your child may be bullying. A lot of those things come out in the water at those events. So my advice would be to just show up at the school events, talk to the important people, the parents, administration, teachers, even sometime the custodian, the lunchroom lady. They may have some information about your child. Essentially, neglectful parents ignore their children who receive little guidance, nurturing, and parent attention. They ignore their children. Again, child can go in the room, be in there hours on hours, no one's checked on them. Little guidance. They can figure it out. He's old enough. I told him when he was 9. Nurturing. Is the child getting a well-balanced meal at least 3-4 days a week? I know people have busy lives, but at least 3 days a week. Is a child getting a well-balanced meal? Parental attention. Are you spending 30 minutes to an hour just hanging out with your child? Whether it's just wrestling, playing their little video game, letting them beat you on the video game. I wasn't a big video gamer. I was an outside kid. So when I started getting video games, hey, I would get down there and let them beat me by 50 points, But I was just sitting down, having those conversations, playing the game. Wasn't really trying to win anyway. Wasn't really trying to win. Just wanted to have that little time. So if there was anything that I needed to address, I could have that conversation and address it. Whether or not I got the truth all the time, but I know by having that conversation, then I would hope that something would trigger them to just be the best that they can be. So just something to think about. They don't set any rules or expectations, and they tend to have minimal knowledge about what their children are doing. Again, uninvolved, neglectful. My son's out in the streets. They wreaking havoc on the community. Somebody may have told me they seen them. They'll be all right. They'll figure it out. And it's just unfortunate because just like the event in Chicago, we see what happens. Young men, not even really aware of what's ahead of them for in their life. Now you have 3 lives gone. 1 bullet, 3 lives. 17 and 19. Deleting someone who was an intricate part of the community. Now look at it. All 3 lives are gone. So just something to think about. Again, it's no knock on anybody. I don't know who is at this space. I was there one time. Wasn't spending much time. Just letting them try to figure it out. Focus on what I wanted to do for myself. And when I started speaking to others about this, I gained more awareness about my own style and wanted to improve it because I saw the dangers and the pitfalls that were in the community. So, again, ladies and gentlemen, please hit the like, share, subscribe to Trey Ferguson, the Player Coach. Hit the like, share, subscribe to Trey Ferguson, the Player Coach, ladies and gentlemen. So, just going to continue reading on. Uninvolved parents expect children to raise themselves. Certain age, figure it out. They don't devote much time or energy to meeting children's basic needs. Again, cooking well-balanced meals, ensuring that they have clean clothes. And at a certain age, it's important to teach those children those domestic skills, how to separate and wash clothes in the appropriate temperatures to get the clothes the brightest and the cleanest, how to maybe clean a kitchen properly, disinfect countertops, keeping bathrooms clean, cleaning toilets, cleaning tubs, cleaning sinks, eliminating as much dust throughout the house as possible. One of my biggest suggestions as far as a young man or young woman within their room is to, one, any wrappers, paper, just take those things and throw them away as soon as you're finished. Try not to eat within the room, their bedroom. Stay in the open area. Clean up any crumbs that may have fallen on the floor, because those things attract ants and as the weather warms up. So just be attentive to their own needs and expectations. So at times, uninvolved parents lack knowledge about children. Well, I say child, but I'll say children's development. They lack knowledge about it. The child is going through some behavior issues. I don't know why they acting like that. Nine times out of 10, when a parent said that to me, I knew that she understood why the child is acting like that. Because one of the first things they would say behind that is they don't have a father in their life. Their father's not in their life. They never gave a reason why. They would just say he's not in their life. A few would say why. You know, if the father was deleted, no longer here, yeah, they always let that be known. The father's no longer here. He passed away. Never went into how he passed away, just that he was no longer here. So that I could understand. I could understand. His father's not going to be around. So he's not going to be able to get that balance. A lot of information he's get is going to be from mother. And there were some instances where the child was with the father, and the father was so caught up in what they were trying to do that they would actually basically turn on the child. If the father developed a relationship, a lot of times they would just neglect the teenage child, which was very unfortunate, because a lot of times when that happened, it was the girls. It was some cases where I've had fathers like fight the sons, but it didn't affect them as much as it affected the young women. The young women were mostly affected, and that was the scary part for me. So I just tried to just be a support for the children, just to be a support for the parents. And those meetings and those parent meetings were very important, because a lot of times I was the bridge that sort of connected the lack of communication between the parent and the child. I would be that bridge, because a lot of times when parents came to me, they were already fed up. They were ready to just kick the child out, send them off wherever. The child is growing, going through puberty. Things are changing. Child may not like how they look. And there was a lot of issues children went through, how they looked. They may have went from wearing a size 6 shoe, now they wear 8.5. They may have went from being 110 pounds, now they're 160 pounds. So a lot of things was happening at the same time. Mother had to go to work. She may have had a smaller child, so the older child couldn't get as much attention. So it was just unique, just to be in those situations where I had to be the bridge to allow these two to come to a space, have a conversation, and iron it out. And believe me, you have to have tough skin. You cannot put your emotions in it because they will get to talking. Next thing you know, everybody's crying, they hugging. I got paper towels, tissue, napkins, whatever it took. I mean, believe me, many of shirts have been ruined. Not ruined, but hey, at that moment, it was ruined. Snot, tears, slop, everything could possibly end up on my shirt. So again, and some parents may have came to me being neglectful without knowing it. I got to go to work. I don't have time for that. But once I was able to sit down, talk to them, give them some possible techniques, give the child the expectations that I'm going to be following up with, a lot of times those issues that the children and the parent had would decimate. It would go away, which was great to me. And they were able to see how they can improve their lives just based on putting forth the effort. So again, it's important to have someone that can come in and mediate a lot of those things. So as you get older and the child gets older, a lot of those issues will go away. So, and one of the last things about not the last thing about that involved parent is that I think I read this. At times, uninvolved parents lack knowledge about child development, meaning going through puberty. Some go through it sooner than others. Some children struggle more than others. And there's nothing wrong with that, but at that same time, if I'm so caught up in what I'm doing that I'm not aware of those issues that could be happening. And that's why I said earlier, just spending 30 minutes to an hour with your child. And if you have more than one child, it's imperative that you spend 30 minutes to an hour with each child. Make it a date. On Monday, it's Tyrone. Tuesday is Jen's. Wednesday, it's Sam's. Whatever, I'm just using names. But however, those little times that you spend with each child puts in that child's mind that they are important too. And it doesn't matter if they have different fathers. If you can give each child 30, 40 minutes a day or a week, just specifically every Tuesday, we're here. Well, my baby's 3. Okay, I guess I'm going to be a 3-year-old for 30 minutes. I'm going to act like a 3-year-old. We're going to sit and play like 3-year-olds do. And as they get older and you continue those things, they are developing a sense of confidence about themselves, a sense of competence, a sense of trust, that I can trust that my parent will be there. So it's a process. Again, nobody has the correct answer. There's no book that's going to say, how can Trey Ferg be the best parent? It may say how to become a good parent, and everything that I read may not even apply to me. So again, just don't be afraid to receive new information. Don't be afraid to, obtain more knowledge about how to become a better parent, because again, it's not for me. It's not for you. It's for the child. It's for the young adult, because we want our children. I would hope that we want our children to be better than us. And it's not going to be easy, but it's not always going to be hard. like I mentioned, uninvolved parents may be neglectful, but it's not always intentional. I think I see that more in our community because if I'm a single parent, we have to eat, so I have to go to work. And the hours that I'm able to get work may not be hours where it's conducive to the children because I may have to go to work when they get home from school. Now they're at risk of whatever happens within the community. They're at risk to fall into their own devices because they're children. They don't know. They don't know it's not safe to sit out on the porch and run in and out of the house when mom's not there because the wrong type of attention may show up. So again, a lot of times it's not intentional to be a neglectful parent. And I think this is a really big one. A parent with mental health issues or substance abuse problems, for example, may not be able to care for a child's physical and emotional needs. If I have some mental issues myself, it's definitely going to affect the child. If I have substance abuse issues myself, it's definitely going to affect the child because I've had parents tell me, hey, I smoke weed. I'm always smoke weed. If my child smokes weed, it's okay, as long as they do it with me and not outside in the streets, which I always thought was ridiculous. I always thought it was ridiculous because everything that I did, I didn't want my children to see. I didn't want them to see, especially at a certain age. Now you get older, you get your own place and you're out and you come over and I'm doing something. Hey, I'm grown, you grown. It's not like we're going to do it together. Just in my own life, my father, he drank a lot. Very heavy drinker. I didn't hold him against him because he was there. He worked. We didn't go without. It was certain things that I couldn't do because I lived in a 2-parent home. So I was okay with that. But the one thing I didn't do, even once I became an adult and I was doing my thing, I loved that ooh-wee. My father would tell you, hey, and damn, boy, I couldn't handle alcohol. I saw what alcohol was doing to him. And fortunately for me, my system couldn't really handle it. I could drink a little bit, a couple of beers, 2 or 3 beers. I'm feeling good for the night. 1 to 2 drinks, depending on what it is. I'm feeling good for the night. Even when I was smoking like that. And we didn't roll blunts. No, we didn't do that. It was a regular little joint. Halfway through the joint, I'm putting it out because it's enough. That was just me. And when I got to be an adult, my father would be like, come on, go buy me a little beer or something. Okay, here, Dad, and that was me. One thing I told my daddy, look, I'm not going to contribute to your vices. I may buy you a beer, buy you a little half pint. That's it. I'm not going to be buying a whole lot. I'm not going to be doing a whole lot for you. And that was it. That's all I did. And I didn't have a drink with my father till I was probably I was in my 30s, maybe 34, 35. That was the first time we actually had a drink together. And it was beer at that. That was the first time. And then as I got older and saw and heard about some things he was doing, I stopped doing that with him. If I was smoking, I didn't allow him to smoke with me. I don't know what came over me to approach it that way, but it did. And it helped me navigate the issues that he was going through. And it always stuck in my head that, you know what, I don't want to be that type of person or parent. But that didn't keep me from being sometime uninvolved. Because like a lot of us, We tell our children things. We expect for them to be able to understand. But I knew children didn't understand at an early age, but by the time 12, 13, yeah, you understand. If I say do it, do it. And I really won't bother you until I come to a place where, hey, I told my child to do something. Let me go see if they did it. And if they didn't, again, we going back and we're going to finish that mission. So, again, there's no right or wrong way to be a parent. And these are parenting styles. Parenting styles. And like it said, we do it a lot of times unintentionally. We have other stuff going on in our lives. We have other children. We got to pay bills. We have to get to work. We have to get home from work. We have to cook dinner. It's a lot of things that goes into parenting that a lot of times children are not aware of because they just see mom doing stuff. They see dad doing stuff. So it's nothing, I would say, against a parent who is neglectful or uninvolved. However, these are certain highlights that once you recognize them, you can definitely do things to improve them. Let me say hello to someone who's joined me, 907 Goodies. Appreciate you, sister. Appreciate you for just stepping in, stopping by. And you one of those great examples of a very involved parent, someone who's very attentive to their child, which is really appreciated today because you and I both see how our youth are just navigating the day without any information. So I appreciate you and all the things that you do for your child, your daughter. And I wish you and her much success. So again, thank you for stopping by. And again, we all don't have any rules when we become parents on how to be the best parent. A lot of times it's just learn as you go. So how does a neglectful or uninvolved parent hurt our child? How uninvolved parents affects children. Without any guidance, structure, or parental involvement, children of neglectful parents often act out. So if we're not involved, you're going to see some behavior issues with that child. It happens 100% of the time. Often that child acts out. And the thing about it is, they're looking for the guidance and structure from the parent. It's one thing from myself, Mr. Ferguson, to say, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. But it doesn't resonate the same as a parent. So if a parent can give the child the structure that's needed, especially early age, 0 to 3, early age. By age 3, a child is who they are. And once they start walking, they're learning every second of the day. They're challenging themselves. That's part of a child's growth and development. The child sees something, the child will crawl over to it, start trying to grab it, play with it, touch it, put it in the mouth. That's the first thing. Then as children get older, it's not going to their mouth. They just want to touch it. They just want to see it. And if I don't guide the child or give them the proper structure, then they're just more than likely going to continue that path and develop a lifestyle of being undisciplined. So it's very important. Again, It's no knock on the parent. We don't know. We don't know, especially a young parent. It's stages of a child's life that we don't know, and I would hope that, especially um, young people today, if you don't know it, use the technology. Just Google it. AI is putting us in a space where we can Google it, and it's going to tell you exactly the information you need, because they're starting to put all of those different little sectors of information in one space. And that's what AI is allowing things to do. We can take 5 different techniques, summarize it into one, and then we can apply it that way. Now, this is research. Research has found that kids with uninvolved parents have the worst outcomes. Just like the incident we had in Chicago, 17 and 19, that deleted a retired police officer, and he was just out in his yard, you ready to cut his grass. They ran up on him, took his life. Another situation a few years ago, which was very sad, young lady sitting at the bus stop, going to work. A young man on his way to school. I guess the way the story was told, that he used to see her every day sitting on the bus stop. So he done decided in his mind that he's going to rob this young lady one morning. He's going to rob her. Again, she's on the bus stop. He's on his way to school. He makes the decision to rob her. What happens? She pulls out her permit to carry, and he's no longer here. He's no longer here. The mother's response when interviewed, I never knew. I never knew. So being an uninvolved parent can have devastating effects on your whole family. I have a sister, had a son, great athlete, great football player. He wanted to follow in his uncle's footsteps. What was that, his junior year? He wanted to think he was tough. So apparently he had got into it with some guys out in the streets. He claimed he found a gun. Now he's on Facebook brandishing the gun. If you want to see me, you know where I be at. On Facebook. Now he was going to a basketball game at a high school. Again, goes to the game. Teenage lack of thinking. He takes the gun into the school. The police had already understood what was going on, so they were there. They hem him up as soon as he pays his money. See, this is what he paid his money to get in. As soon as he paid him, they hemmed him up. Come here. What does he have in his backpack? The weapon. They arrest him. Go to court. Again. Mama, I don't want to be here. I need to get out of here. Her husband at the time paid, I don't know, $1,200, $1,300 to get him out. Me, I said let him stand there a little bit. But again, I'm just an uncle. Nobody listens to me. I've had similar experiences with students. Not my own children, because no, you would have stayed in there, Mom, till they let you out. You'd have served out the time. It wouldn't have been me. So anyway, they get him out. Now he has to go to court. They send him to alternative school for the rest of the year, right? Smart kid. Dude was on honor roll in regular school. Go to alternative school. Again, he's on honor roll. He's smart. Comes back his senior year. Play sports, play football. I Told my sister, look, let me use my connections, see if he can get a scholarship. Or if he doesn't like that, then look, we can get him into West Point. People don't know West Point is free. It's a lengthy application process, but to go to the school is free. It's a military cadet school where students can play sports and get an education. The only downside that I would say, well, I wouldn't say it's a downside, it's just after you commit those 4 years of sports, free education, you have to serve 4 years in the military. The average salary for any male or female that takes that route, the average salary, let's just say you go in at 18, you graduate at 22. You got free education, free sports. You served your 4 years in the military, that'll put you at 26, 27, depending on your birthday. The average salary for those young adults is $126,000. The average salary. On the low end, it could be like 110, 115. On the high end, it could be 130, 140, 150. So 26 years old, making over $100,000. You've gotten your degree with no overhead, no loans. You've gained skill sets that employers will take over anybody that goes to a traditional college. If you ever, well, I know military people would know this. If you apply for a job, certain jobs, they have a hiring preference. If you're a disabled veteran, you get 10 points. If you just a veteran with no medical issues or anything, you get 5 points. If you just graduate in college, you get 0 points. So when they go have the interview, and let's just say they interview all three, they're going to put that disabled veteran above the veteran and the just regular college graduate because they understand that they have the skill set to do the job. They have the work ethic because in the military, you're going to be working. Going to college, what you do? Go to class, go study, stay in your room, mess around half the time on campus, study late. In the military, they know that you got the training you needed. You got the experience you needed. And at 26 years old, you're going to average about 126,000. Hell, most people would take 100,000. But to know that you can be placed in those positions, I would recommend anybody look into it. It'll change your children's life. It'll change your life because some of y'all be trying to get a little bit of money from your babies. So research has found that kids with uninvolved parents have the worst outcomes, and they are more likely to experience the following. And you can go look this up in Society's 2014 consequences of parenting on adolescent outcomes. So a lot of these young children end up with substance abuse issues. You see it. They smoke more weed than's growing on the little bush. Rebelliousness. They can rebel against you. They can rebel against others in the community. Rebel against employers. Delinquency, vandalism, assault, rape. Well, grape, as they say, petty theft. A lot of times students get involved in that. And let me just take it off students. Just adolescents get involved in this type of behavior because they have no expectations. They have no guidance. They have no structure. Lower cognitive and the emotional empathy. I don't give a damn. The cognitive delays, their ability to think is very limited. Dismiss self-esteem. Self-esteem. A lot of young men and women struggle with self-esteem. A lot of young men and young women struggle with self-esteem. If somebody was to say something about my big nose, then I go into a rant. You attacking me. No, I got a big nose. I used to get it all the time from students. You bald head? Yes, my head is bald. I shaved it. I used to always have a comeback. So it didn't bother me. You white boy? Yes, I'm light as hell. And looking back, when it first started to happen, well, it happened since I was a kid getting talked about, so it wasn't nothing. And every day when I look in the mirror, I love myself. I love what I look like. Because I used to look at them and be like, oh shit, they ugly as hell. No wonder they're attacking me. But again, that's just a child. As a child, as I got older to be an adult, very seldom had those issues. You know, me and my friends would sit around and, you know, joke on each other, snap on each other, however you call it, depending on where you live, crack on each other. And, you know, something to laugh at. Because we know we all got some funny quirks about ourselves. So, you know, it's important to be involved and spend time with your children so they can develop those confidences about themselves. Diminished self-esteem. Again, how do you feel about yourself? These are things that a lot of times happen within children who are neglected. Even because a lot of our children, they overweight, but they're not getting any time to be active. We keep them in the house all the time. We make excuses. Oh, it's too dangerous outside. Take them to a park. Take them to a park in another community. Let them play and run. Because while they're outside, they're going to burn all that fucking energy off. So when they come home, you feed them, put them in the tub, send them to bed. Then you got the rest of your night to yourself. And they'll sleep all night. But if they're not burning that energy, they're not getting those enzymes and those neurons firing off in their brain, getting that vitamin D in their skin because it's too hot for me, then we don't take our children out. We keep them in the house with the shades drawn. It's all dark and dreary. Didn't let no fresh air get in all day, just stale air circulating all through the house. How do you think that's going to affect the child? Children of uninvolved parents might, for example, get in trouble at school or with the law. Yeah. No expectations, no structure. And again, this applies to both fathers and mothers. I'm a father. I got things to do. I got to get on dates. I got to go out. I got to have fun. I got to kick it with the boys. And leave our child to figure it out on their own. So it applies to both parents, not just the mother. It applies to both parents. In addition, they might be hesitant to form bonds with other people and exhibit depression. Wow. I heard that a lot in adults, being depressed, forming bonds. I don't trust you. Why should I believe you, bald-headed man? Why should I believe you? Know nothing about my life. Excuse me. And I'm just trying to provide information because a lot of what I hear is, nobody told me. So now when someone's in a position to tell you, now you dismiss it, which makes no sense to me. You dismiss some information that someone gave you, but you just said, nobody told me. Makes no sense to me. So, in addition, they may hesitate to form bonds with other people and exhibit depression. Depression, man, that's big. Academic performance and social competence suffer. Academic performance and social competence often suffer. We see that a lot, don't we? School ain't for everybody. I don't like school. Everybody hates me. Ain't nobody trying to date. Ain't nobody trying to be together. Social competence. It's too rough out there. It's me against the world. Nobody's going to help me. All of these things start to develop within a child's mind. And those children turn into young adults with the same mindset. So it's very important to understand what type of parent you are. And if you are in this category, please take the necessary steps to help yourself, help your children become more competent, more confident about who they are. What's up, my sister, Wife School Podcast? Salute you. Thank you for coming through, just hanging out. Again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Trey Ferguson, the Player Coach. Please hit the like, share, subscribe button to Trey Ferguson, the Player Coach. Hit the like, share, subscribe button to Trey Ferguson, the Player Coach. So we're going to move on to our next slide, and how uninvolved parents affect children. Again, academic performance and social competence suffer. So be aware of these things about if it's not your child. Pay attention to your relatives' children. Pay attention to children you may have some involvement with, whether it's in the community, church, school, or your place of employment. Just look for certain cues, and it should help you identify things that may be going on within that child's life. So, again, I like to start with the worst. And now we're going to just move to a little better style of parenting. And this style of parenting would be permissive parenting. Do any of these statements sound like you? You set rules, but rarely enforce them. A permissive parent: I set a rule, but I barely enforce them. I told you not to do that. Don't do this. Don't go there. Don't do this. And then it happens. Then we just dismiss it. Give me 1 second. Okay, so you don't give out consequences very often. Any consequence. Child acts out in school, there's no consequence. Child acts out in the home, there's no consequence. Child acts out in the community, there's no consequence. You think your child will learn best with little interference from you. They can figure it out for themselves, which is very unique. It's just very unique. You have to take some time out of your day, out of your week, to engage with their child. Sometime. Ask them about how they feel about certain things. And if it's something that doesn't align with your expectation, spend the time to talk them through that so they can get a better understanding of the expectation that you set for them. Do you let your children do what they want? Even if it's drinking soda at every meal? Again, that unhealthy nutrition, that unhealthy eating habits. Do we cook a well-balanced meal several days a week? Do we let our children consume sugar? Because sugar is connected to behavior. We wonder why our children are diagnosed with ADHD because we've given them so much sugar. I can't sit still. Especially you give sugar to a child, they go wreak havoc on you. I didn't feed my child breakfast that morning, even with the cereals. They have sugar in them. We don't give our children water often. We give them a lot of sodas, juices. But again, a lot of times we do it without the awareness of how it can be damaging to our child. It's quick. It's easy. I understand. However, if we could shorten our time on social media about 30 minutes to an hour, give that attention to our children, it would pay big dividends down the road. If those statements sound familiar, you might practice permissive parenting. So you give them little guidance, little interference. You let them drink sodas. You don't give consequences. You don't enforce rules. You might be a permissive parent. Permissive parents are limited, only stepping in when there is a serious problem. I can see that. And I think as children get older, we sort of try to be a little bit less hands off and stepping in when needed. Like when our kids get into a fight, what do? We go run out there. Who did it? What's going on? What's up? Without really knowing all the details, coming to the school, cussing out the teacher, just because my child said something that the teacher said, but they never said what they did to get that type of reaction from the teacher. Think about it. You're quite forgiving, and they adopt an attitude of kids will be kids. Oh my God. Damn. That's running rampant in my community. When I say my community, I say community of melanated people. That's running rampant. Kids will be kids. On one hand, we'll say kids will be kids. Then on the other hand, we'll say kids don't listen. That makes no sense to me. Kids are bad as hell today. Again, what type of parents are we? Are we neglectful, uninvolved, or are we permissive? Look at this next statement. Often they act more like friends than authoritative figures. I want to be my child's friend. I want them to trust me. That's a lot of baloney. That's a lot of baloney. You want your child to become your friend once they are adults. And even then, there has to be certain rules and expectations that they represent your name well. But there's no way in hell that you can be a child's friend while they are in school or of school age through high school. There's no way. There's no way. And we hear this a lot. Kids will be kids. We say that when it's about our children, and we don't want to be bothered with all of those nuances of having children. But let somebody else's child act that way. These kids are bad as hell. I hear it all the time from men and women. These kids today don't listen. Okay. I knew I had to get in my son's ass sometime. And I'm glad my father got in my ass. He only had to do it one time, 7th grade. I failed every class. Every fucking class. And back then, parents were pretty much permissive. They were hands off. They would let you know, you go to school and you act fucked up, I'm going to come and fuck you up. It wasn't none of that. Mama, Miss So-and-so said, call me a badass. Because now we making things seem greater than what they are. My mother didn't, well, it was one time my mother came to the school and got on the school administration, but that's another story. And it wasn't my fault. But for the most part, let me come home and give my mother or father a story about what happened in school. They don't give a damn about the other person. What the hell did you do? What the fuck? Tell me about what you did. And then you trying to get your lie together. And my father would tell me, boy, you fucking lying. The fuck on out of my face. You're lying. Well, 7th grade, all of that stuff caught up with me. I bought home my report card. It wasn't a final grade report card, but it was like one of those quarters report cards. I failed every class. Every class. My parents were hands off. I was going through puberty. The girls was feeling on me in class and shit. And when I say feeling on me, they was feeling on me. Pretty little light-skinned girls. Pretty. I used to be like, what's going on here? Girls would show me their breasts. I mean, in class, I used to be like, what the hell? I couldn't concentrate. I thought I was the man. These girls are feeling on me, rubbing up against me. Hell, back then when you in 7th, 8th grade, shit, you could be writing a sentence and look up your shit touching the desk like, what the hell going on? You could be at the water fountain like, boop, like, oh shit, playing outside, playing like, what the hell? You didn't really have control over it. And I damn sure wasn't paying attention when somebody's doing all the stuff that was happening to me. Did I report that? No. Today, what would y'all call it? When y'all call it sexual harassment, I was being sexually harassed and loved every minute of it. I loved every minute of it. Because I knew I was a boy. I knew I was a boy, like, yeah. But again, my parents being sort of permissive at the time allowed me to get into these situations. You can even say that they were neglectful because they expected me to abide by the expectations at school. At home, nah, y'all know, if you had parents that were attentive back home, your ass couldn't go in the living room to play. Your ass had chores around the house. It wasn't none of that shit. You just gonna lay up and let your room get funky. No. My mom used to kick open the fucking door. What the fuck you doing in there, boy? Clean this motherfucker up. And at some point, she didn't have to really tell me, but I think it was about 7th grade, 8th grade. I cleaned my room every week. I kept it neat. I used to line my shoes up and put the shoestrings inside the shoe. I used to face all my shirts the same way and my pants. The hangers had to be the same way. And I learned this from watching my father, you know. And a lot of stuff that I learned then, I didn't know that it would help me in the military. So I used to be like, damn, I used to do this shit since I was 12, 13 years old. And it was funny. So again, by them being permissive at the time, it allowed me to put myself in these crazy ass predicaments when I was young. They wasn't trying to be my friend. And I don't know anybody's parent who was trying to be their friend. Shit. No, it wasn't none of that. It wasn't none of that. I'm going to call my mama by her first name. No. It wasn't none of that. I'm going to call Miss So-and-so by her first name. No. My parents were big on respect. Big. My father hated for you to say, answer him with a yeah. Or what? Or what? Man, my friends come in my house. I used to warn them at the door, look, when you go in, man, my father's in there. He's on the couch. Because when he was on the couch, that was his time. And my father, he used to lay on the couch with his underwear and boxers. Shit, you might walk by and see his shit. I'm like, Come on, man. It's my goddamn house, boy. Keep it moving. Hey, man, when you come in the house, man, make sure you speak to my mother. Make sure you speak. And again, being young, walk in. You better take your hat off. You better speak to my mother. My father, he didn't really care if he said what. You know, a lot of my friends are like, what's up, Mr. Calvin? That was my father's name. Yeah, boy, what's up? That was it. My mother, you better say hi to my mother. He would stop you in your tracks. You funky motherfucker. The fuck, didn't your mama teach you any fucking home training? I used to be like, and I just step away like, see, you ain't gonna cuss me out on top of that. What the fuck wrong with you? Take your motherfucking hat off in my gut. And he would go in. I'm sorry, mister. You know what I'm saying? You know how young folk are. Once you come at them with the real, I'm sorry. Yeah, motherfucker, I know you're sorry. That's how he would accept that shit. Now don't do that shit no goddamn more. And it was every time. And for some reason, my friends would come back every fucking time. I'm like, man, what is going on? They would come back. So, but it was all in good, you know, it was all in good faith. My father, you know, he would have great relationships with a lot of my friends as we got older. There was no issues with them at all. And it was just, you know, a unique time. It was very unique, you know. So, yeah, you know, again, at some point in my life, my parents were permissive. They definitely weren't trying to be your friend, though. I can tell you that shit. You know, permissive parents catered to their children's needs without giving them much discipline. No, they weren't my parents. No, they didn't cater to our needs. No, they got us what we needed. They got us what we needed. Now, the unique thing about that, I think I was about 14, 15, my mother started allowing me to go school shopping for myself. Because she know where every time we go to the mall, I would wander around the mall. She'd be spending 30, 40 minutes looking for me. And when I was about 14, she started letting me go school shopping for myself. And I would always get nice clothes too. I don't know, people remember Jordache and Calvin Klein. Yeah, I like Calvin Klein because my name was the same. I used to be like, yeah, okay, let's do it. You know, so, and it gave me a sense of responsibility. You know, I would come back. She would give me about 200, 250, depending on, you know, what time it was or whatever. And I would come back, enough school clothes probably take me the whole school year. You know, I would have at least enough new clothes for a whole week. That's including socks, underwear. And I always had to keep me $3 or $4 to get me a little value meal, a little something to eat. Whether it was McDonald's, some chicken, you know, and you feel good when you walk around the mall and your friends work at the restaurants in the mall and you walk around with your bags by yourself and got your little, you know, got your little clothes on, you done iron them up. My mother used to, you know, be hands off in that compartment once I became a teenager. You know, my father, he's always been hands off. His expectation for me was cut that fucking grass. Be respectful to my elders. Don't act up in school. 7th grade, I wasn't listening to none of that shit. Bought home most grades. My father gave me probably the only time that I can remember him ever disciplining me physically. He gave me 14 licks, 2 for each, because I had 7 Fs. Yeah, believe it or not. My conduct was A and B though. Again, I just didn't do no work. My conduct was A's and B's. I wasn't a bad child. I wasn't going to be a disturbance in class. Just sit back and daydream. Shit, the little girls over there feeling all on me and shit. It was, so, you know, I had to deal with it. And to this day, nobody ever talked about that incident when my father got in my ass. Nobody talked about it. It was weird. I used to bring it up, people like, I don't remember that. Oh, yo, I remember that shit. But again, they were being permissive at the time. They were a little bit more lax. They gave me the expectation, but I didn't follow through. So they had to do what they had to do. And I appreciated that as I got older. I would say within a year, because finishing up the 7th grade year, I did what I had to do. Going into the 8th grade, I already knew what I needed to do because I was playing sports throughout all of that time, and I didn't want anything to stop me from playing football. Then in 8th grade, I played on the school team, did pretty good, leading scorer, doing all that. But as far as, football was my love. So I didn't want anything to stop me from playing football. So I appreciated my parents for that. Really quick, the last thing. The only thing that my mother said when my father was ready to whoop me, the only thing she said was, don't kill him. That was it. That's all she said. She ain't coming there to say nothing else. That was it. I was like, wow. Because I heard it because she yelled it out because she was in the other room. And everything got quiet. Then he did what he had to do. I think I went to sleep, woke up hours later, and then he was like, boy, let me talk to you. And he gave me a conversation, which was cool, and things went back to normal. Permissive parents cater to their children's needs without giving them much discipline. When they do use consequence, they may not stick to it. I've seen that a lot. Boy, I'm going to whoop you. Boy, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to take it this way. I'm going to take this way. But they don't follow through. They'll give privileges back if a child begs. See? I'm going to take your game away. They do it. 2 days later, Mama, can I play with my game? Now that I'm doing something, here, boy, take that shit. See, because now I'm doing something. And their consequence is not as important. They will allow a child to get out of timeout early if they promise to be good. Oh, my God. I used to see this all the time. Are you going to be good? A parent negotiating with a child. Please, if you good, I'll take you to get some ice cream. If you good, I'll buy you that new Xbox game. I'll buy you those new Jordans. I used to hear this. And I used to just shake my head like, the child ain't got a chance. Permissive parents are the total opposite of strict. Whew, amen. Total opposite of strict. Ladies and gentlemen, please hit the like, share, subscribe button to Trey Ferguson, the Player Coach. Hit the like, share, subscribe button to Trey Ferguson, the Player Coach. So, again, totally opposite of strict, being a permissive parent, more laid back, less hands-on, allow children to bend the rules often, do not stick to the rules, allow children to do what they want sometimes. So, if you have practiced this style of parenting, please recognize these things in the process or during the times that there may be an issue with your child. If you can recognize these things and then start to take measures to improve on that, it'll change your life, it'll change your children's life. So here are some how permissive parents affect children. Since they have a high standing in the household, children of permissive parents are accustomed to getting whatever they want. Wow. They can get whatever they want. Oh, when I get paid, I'm gonna go out and get my baby these new Jordans. He been wanting these new Jordans. But he ain't did shit in school. He ain't cleaned his room. He ain't assisted around the house. But I still gotta go out and get the child things that they want. Not that they need, they want. It's a difference, a big difference between things you need and your wants. A lot of children have 3 or 4 pair of sneakers. They can only wear one at a time. They haven't done anything to get those 3 or 4 pair of sneakers. So, what do we do as parents? I got to get my baby this. And again, This not only applies to women, this applies to men also. My children got to look good. Dumb as hell. Dumb as hell. Can't read, don't know how to write, but they got to look good on the outside, which is a detriment not only to the children, but to the entire family and eventually the community. They may exhibit more behavior problems as they don't appreciate authority and rules. Whew, man, we see that in adults. We see that when people get pulled over by the police. We see that on the job. I ain't gonna be doing everybody else's job. Why you keep coming over here bothering me? Why you pull me over? Why? Instead of, again, following the expectation so you can move along. But no, we create more problems because when we start being challenging, then our time gets taken. I have to be there longer because not everybody is going to treat me like a permissive parent. Not everybody's going to do it. And the worst situation is when fathers are there in their children's lives and are permissive parents. Because if a man doesn't set any expectation for the children, then there can be grave issues for the child. Children of permissive parents have a lack of responsibility, difficulty with decision making. They can't make up their mind about nothing. I want to try this. I want to try this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Yes, I like it. No, I don't. I don't know. All over the place. Impulsive and aggressiveness. Impulsive. It is, I'm going to do this. I just thought about it today. Aggressive. Oh, you don't like what I thought? You don't like it? Why you don't like it? You ain't right. What you mean? Say it again. Anxiety and depression. Again, there goes that word depression again. Children of these parents get anxiety, and parents don't even know it until years later. Depression. It's a lot of adults coming to these spaces talking about depression. Most of them can equate it to back when they were children. And it's funny because people will say a parent wasn't there, but if that parent is not there, then that parent is not teaching you. What is the parent that is there? What are they teaching you? It's important to understand that. What is the parent that's raising you? What are they teaching you? I understand you got to go to work. There was a lot of parents when I was coming up, single parents had to go to work, but they still had expectations for their children. Their children still couldn't run around just doing whatever. Now, if a child did get caught up and start participating in those type of deviant behaviors, then the parent would just pretty much put their ass out like, no, you can't bring that around my other children. I'm not going to allow you to disrupt my peace. So these children also exhibit academic struggles. School ain't for everybody. They're less interested in school. They stop coming to school. Kids who are permissively often act entitled, egocentric, selfish. These children might also fail to put effort into school. Academic struggles? I ain't putting no effort into that shit. Social endeavors. Why we gotta do this? These people, they boring. They this, they that. social endeavor. As a younger, I would say from high school on, you should be able to go out to events with your friends. Whether it's, I would just say, if you're going to give an establishment, Dave and Buster's, Chuck E. Cheese's, you should be able to go out to these events and have a good time. It's not going to be 100% perfect, but you should be able to go out and enjoy yourselves at public places, going to the park, hanging out with your friends, going to birthday parties. Let me read this all the way together. These children might also fail to put effort into school, work, or social events, since they don't have to put in any effort at home. What's done in the home spills over into the community. That's all it's saying. What's done in the home, it spills over. You don't put no effort or have no value in your home, you damn sure ain't gonna have no value in your community. Ain't no other way around that. You see it all the time. They don't value the home, they damn sure ain't gonna value the school or the community. Additionally, kids raised by permissive parents are at a higher risk for health problems. This is a higher risk for health problems, like obesity. What? Yeah. Parents let you do what you want, hands off. You can have sodas every meal. You can eat all this fucking candy, chips. A lot of children eat chips for breakfast. With knowing, sometimes they know, sometimes they don't give a damn. Sometimes they don't know about the health consequences. That red dye 40 is linked to causing cancer. Who don't like some fucking Flaming Hots? It's like every student for the last 10 years loves some fucking Flaming Hots. A lot of adults eat Flaming Hots. All bad for you. All bad. Because permissive parents struggle to limit unhealthy food intake or promote regular exercise or healthy sleep habits. So they're going to experience these health problems because the lack of healthy foods, the lack of promotion of exercise, and unhealthy sleep. Who doesn't have a child that's a teenager that tries to stay up to 12, 1, 2 o'clock on a school night? Why the hell would I think that my child will go to school and be attentive in school if they up half the night on their phone, on TikTok, on Instagram? It even happens as adults. When people go live, they go live late at night and may get off 1, 2, 3 in the morning and still have to go to work. Now, as an adult, that's a little different. But if you have a child that needs to be at his height of attendance and not getting healthy foods is very detrimental. Not getting enough sleep is very detrimental. And not getting enough exercise is very detrimental. Because a lot of students today, when they go to gym class, they're not participating in the gym exercise. A lot of these young girls, what they got on weave? They ain't gonna sweat they weave out and they just got their weave done on Sunday, here it is Tuesday. That's not gonna happen. But again, as a permissive parent, I'm gonna allow my child to do those things. And I'm gonna make excuse for her when I speak to the teacher. Well, she just got her hair did. She just got it done. So you rather risk your child getting an F in the class than participate because of some hair that's not hers. Doesn't make sense. Even a young boy. A lot of these young boys don't get out and exercise because a lot of the excess weight is all baby fat. It's all baby fat. A couple of months of exercise would change a child's life in the summer. Children don't go swimming. Again, they're not outside as much at the playgrounds, developing the muscle, jumping off the top of the swing set, jumping out of the swing, going through the monkey bars, It's a lot of great activities that were afforded and available then that a lot of youth today just don't participate in. They often more likely to have dental cavities because permissive parents often don't enforce good habits like ensuring a child brushes their teeth. Wow. Yeah, I see it a lot. I see it a lot. A lot of kids come to school, teeth about as yellow and green as their shirt, not really brush their teeth, breath is hot like a dragon. And it's just unfortunate because you can tell that they were allowed to pretty much dress themselves, figure that shit out. I showed him one time 2 years ago. He's a boy or she's a girl. I don't know how to raise her. It's certain things that I'm afraid to talk about. It's your child. You should never be afraid to talk about any of those difficult topics. And if you are, please ask someone for some help. Preferably somebody you don't know. Why do I say that? Because y'all will say it. People you know, they judge you. If I go tell my friend that I don't know how to raise my son, they're going to judge me. So, do you want the greatest outcome for your son? Because that very person that judge you would have a child who's doing a lot worse than your child. So, if you feel that way, I suggest talking to people you don't really know who's going to give you unbiased advice. Advice that can help you, whether you like it or not. It's going to help you if you receive the information and then try to apply it. Try to apply it, see what the outcome is. Try it out for 90 days, see how it works. And if you don't know, or if it doesn't work out, you can always go back to the drawing board and get some other advice. So, hygiene. Ensuring that your child bathes daily, not shower. Sit their crusty little feet, they little tatas in some fucking warm water as hot as they can stand it. It's important. Sit in that water till they fucking wrinkle like a pickle. You know how it is when you go swimming, you look up, your skin is wrinkled? That's how long your child should sit in the tub. I, as a parent, I made sure that I wash my child's head every Friday or Saturday. Saturday was preferably because I could move slower, didn't have to rush, get up, wash their head. And I may wash it twice, sometimes 3 times, depending on what we were doing. We were going swimming or to the lake. Hell yeah, I'm washing it. Wash it. Get that out of their head. Get that out of their skin. A couple of times with the appropriate shampoos. But again, being permissive parents, a lot of people struggle with that, or they just don't have time because, again, the burdens of being a single parent, it's very heavy. But these tactics and these techniques practiced early and often will allow you to have a little bit more lax time as the child gets older, because now they develop this mindset that they have an expectation for themselves. They develop the confidence to complete these tasks without mom or dad even saying, hey, do this. So it's very important to at least adapt a few things. Maybe not today. And it really doesn't matter what age your children are, because, again, according to us, a child is 22. My child, my son, my daughter, how old is it? 22, 20. It's fucking adult. It's a difference. But, again, there's no right or wrong. But there is information that is always beneficial to improve where we are today. Again, ladies and gentlemen, please hit the like, share, subscribe to Trey Ferguson, the Player Coach. Hit the like, share, subscribe to Trey Ferguson, the Player Coach, ladies and gentlemen. Mm. How does the permissive parent, again, affect children? Just take your time to think about it. Those of us that have children, again, there's no perfect way to raise a child. There's no perfect way. But there are certain techniques that we could use to help improve the conditions of our child, the state of being of our child, which entail would improve our own lives. So it's important to understand what type of parent you are and seek out the resources to become a better parent, because it's not just for us, it's for the child and their safety and well-being. So our next parenting style is authoritarian parent. Ooh, we. An authoritarian parent. This may sound like a lot of us. You believe kids should be seen and not heard. Shut your ass up. Get on over. Be quiet. Seen and not heard. We may have teenagers. Do as I say, not as I do. I've been one of those parents at that time. It happens. It happens. Things change as children get older. We've had conversations 4 and 5 and 6 times. Why the hell do you understand what I'm saying? It happens. When it comes to rules, yeah, I believe that it's my way or the highway. You're going to do what the hell I say. You're going to get the hell on. Who hasn't heard that before? Most people would consider that an old school way. Yeah. Because a lot of us as new parents, shit, we give our children too much leeway. Then we're trying to backtrack when they get older. No, you set those expectations early, you stick to them, but also be fair. You allow them to sort of navigate an opportunity to dismiss some of those consequences that we set. We set the expectation, hey, you have this consequence. Let me track your behavior over the next week or so, see how you improve in school, see how your behavior improves. You got a test coming up on Friday. You pass that test, then we can move forward with, excuse me, with alleviating some of those consequences. So, again, we all may fit in one of these categories as a parent throughout the child's life. You don't take the child's feelings into consideration. Yeah, I used to be like that all the time. Yeah, just do what the hell I said. Don't get that much of a feeling. Now, notice it said child's feelings. Yes. Sometimes it's great to take those feelings in consideration, especially if there's a traumatic situation. If the child may experience some bullying at school. If I get a new mate, a lot of times we get new, a parent may get a new boyfriend, a new girlfriend, and without considering the child, we just force that person on the child instead of having a meeting, prior to them moving in or us moving in with somebody else, with our children, to sort of gauge how the child would feel about that. about me and the mother separating, having a meeting to discuss the changes and how it could affect the child. So, a lot of times we dismiss that. So you've uttered the words, because I said so. Ooh, yes. That was my mama. Because I said so, damn it. Now do it. Okay. When a child questions the reason behind a rule. Ooh-wee. Who says that? Because I said so. Now do it. Yeah. I believe that's probably more prevalent in the melanated community. If any of these things ring true, you might be an authoritarian parent. The authoritarian style of parenting focuses on strict rules, obedience, and discipline. Yeah. These parents have high expectations. Yes. I expect for my children to do well in school. I expect for my child to do their chores when I say so. Was I right? Yeah, some people would argue. Was I wrong? Yeah, some people would argue that. So it just comes down to where you are, where that child is, how comfortable you feel in employing some of these styles. Or you may just do it by default. That's the way you were taught. That's the way you were raised. So I'm just going to adapt those same styles. Is it always the best? Some could argue that. They don't hesitate to punish when children don't follow their rules and guidelines. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. I didn't always punish. Well, it depends on how you look at it. Maybe if they didn't do something, I'll be like, well, you can't go nowhere. You can't do this, can't play a game or something. Yeah, so I guess you can call it a punishment, consequence. You can also look into psychological consequences of parents. In this article here in the OSR JHUM Social Science, and just to, get a little bit more depth reading about it. Authoritarian parents take over the decision-making power, rarely giving children any input in the matter. Oh yeah, because I said so. I don't care about how you feel. Just do it. And sometimes the child may have some good insight. Sometimes they just may have questions. But in the moment, we ain't trying to hear it. Just do it. Similar to an Army drill sergeant, authoritarian parents are not nurturing, lenient, or communicative. I can see that. Not nurturing, yeah, we may not hug a lot. I don't think I've heard my father tell me he loved me until I was probably about 40. Yeah, my father, I believed he loved me because he gave me the things that we needed. But as far as saying I love you, probably never heard it till I was about 40. But again, I had my mother there. She was the one giving me all the game while my father was struggling with his issues. Now, lenient, no. My parents, they were lenient at times. Again, they were lenient when I was in the 7th grade. That's how I got into this situation that I was in. Communicative, parents didn't communicate a lot. They gave you expectations and expected you to follow them. What's up, brother Timotheus, man? Thank you for stopping through, man. Just hanging out with me, man. Appreciate you, man. As always, man. Salute, man. Again, 907 Good Eats, man. Man, look at you, man. Appreciate you stopping by. So again, just talking about the different parenting styles, how we can adopt them to ensure we have a great outcome for our children and our families, man. So appreciate y'all stopping by. Please hit the like button, sharing. with someone you may know who may be in a space right now where they have a small child and looking to find resources to just improve the outcome of their children as they get older. So I appreciate y'all stopping by, man. For real. White School Podcast also, man. Authoritarian parents take over decision-making power, rarely giving children any input in the matter. Similar to an Army drill sergeant, authoritarian parents are not nurturing, lenient, or communicative. They make the rules and enforce the consequences with little regard for a child's opinion. Ooh-wee. Salute to the old school parent, because they're going to give you some rules, and they're going to enforce that shit with little regard to how you feel or your opinion. What's the saying? Do what I say and not what I do. It's just the way it was. People today can look back and say, oh, that was the wrong way to raise your parent. But from what I've seen, the outcomes, most of those individuals raised by parents like that, most of them turned out all right. They may have had some bumps in the road when they started to get away from the teachings of our parents and grandparents. But for the most part, they turned out all right. Always had a job. Always had their own places, especially as adults. Relied very little on assistance from mother and father and grandparents. Totally opposite of what today is. Our kids expect for us to carry them through their life and will blame us for their lack of. And will intentionally blame us for their lack of. Well, I used to tell my children, I'm not going to take any blame for any bad decisions that you make, because I want you to have as much information as possible. And if you don't know, just say you don't know so we can discuss it to come up with a better outcome. So again, parenting styles are different at different stages of your life and the child's life. And these styles apply to both the father and the mother. So again, they make rules and enforce the consequences with little regard to a child's opinion. Ladies and gentlemen, please hit the like, share, subscribe button to Trey Ferguson, the Player Coach. Hit the like, share, subscribe button to Trey Ferguson, the Player Coach, ladies and gentlemen. How authoritarian parenting affects children. How does it affect the child? When raised by authoritarian parent, children are often well-behaved in the home. Yes, they are. They well-behaved in the home because mama said, your ass don't move. Daddy said, go sit down. But they may rebel with classmates or friends. That means you're going to teach your child to be a follower. Kids may also struggle with the following. Social skills. They struggle with making friends. They sort of gravitate to those who may get them caught up in certain bad situations. We wonder why our children follow others. Because again, our parenting style. Because it connects with, they may rebel with classmates and friends. So if they're struggling with social skills, they're going to gravitate to that type of individual and create larger problems for themselves. Just like with the young man who was 17, started to hang out with a kid 19, and you see what the outcome was. Now, both of them will be spending probably the rest of their lives in prison, and the retired officer is no longer here to support the community. Indecisiveness and trouble thinking on their own. Again, that's where they become followers of others who will give them direction. Indecisiveness and trouble thinking on their own. Low self-esteem. We see that a lot today. Low self-esteem. A lot of adults and youth have low self-esteem. Poor judgment of character. Ooh. Don't we talk about vetting? Don't we talk about we should have known that somebody was that way? Well, you chose them. Don't guys say that to women? You chose them. I didn't know she was going to take all my money. Poor judgment of character. We act like we don't see those red flags until after the fact. And if we do see them, we ignore them because we have a poor judgment of character as it pertains to other individuals. Anger management and resentfulness. They get angry at the drop of a dime. And resentfulness. What the hell you resent? The fact that you should have kept your ass at home instead of going hanging out, following your friends? You resenting somebody? Because when you get to the age of reason, you realize they were staring you the wrong way? So it's, again, these parenting styles are not to put blame on anyone. It's just allowing us to see the different styles and how it affects each child in our life or even our own lives differently. And regardless of where you are in this level of parenting, if you are a parent who's very, very involved, continue to be very involved. But if you're a parent who can sit back and see that you're not as engaged as you should be, it's always an opportunity to change for the better, because those changes that you embark on will also change your outcomes for your own children. Believe me, I had to walk down this road and it changed my life. It took a lot of pressure off myself. And I understood that I couldn't just do it in one conversation. I had to engage, have more conversations, more, and more. So it's no knock on anybody being a parent. And again, you don't have to follow any of these suggestions at all. Just be aware that when you start seeing this type of behavior with their child, you have a better understanding of where it comes from. Because children are always going to move according to what is easiest path of resistance. You don't set no rules for me. I'm just going to push the limit every time. So, again, just parenting styles. It's no knock on anybody's, ability to be a parent. But I guarantee you, any little bit helps, especially in today's society, in today's environment. Any little bit of that helps. So, authoritarian parents, and this is a big one. Hush up, Soxy. That's my dog. Hush up. Some research also indicates that children whose parents were authoritarian reported more substance use and higher instances of depression. Wow. Authoritarian parenting and youth depression. Wow. Wow. Those children that come from that parenting style. Hush up. Hold on for me. Soxy, come here. Hush up. Hush up. So again, there's no perfect way to be a parent. We all have similar styles. We all have different styles. So if you are an neglectful parent, a permissive parent, authoritarian parent, I would advise you to just look at the different styles to see which one could apply to yourself. So again, there's no knock on anyone being a parent. In the meantime, ladies, please hit the like, share, subscribe button to Trey Ferguson, the player coach. Hit the like, share, subscribe button to Trey Ferguson, the player coach, ladies and gentlemen. And our next style of parenting would be the authoritative parent. The authoritative parent. You put a lot of effort into creating and maintaining a positive relationship with your child. I think this is one of the probably the most beneficial parenting styles. The authoritative parent. It sounds sort of harsh, just being authoritative, but the actual process of being this style of parent is very beneficial. You put a lot of effort into creating and maintaining a positive relationship with your child. You explain the reasons behind your rules. You give a child an explanation. Sometimes you may have to do it after the fact, but as long as they get the explanation, it's always beneficial. You set limits, enforce rules, and give consequences, but also consider your child's feelings. A lot of times we know who our children are. Hush up. Come here. A lot of times we know who our children are. And we set rules and enforce them and give those consequences. But we also consider our child's feelings in the process. You use positive discipline strategies such as praise and rewards. Yes, you did a great job in school today. Yes, you did a great job cleaning the house today. Yes, you did a great job of just cleaning your room, doing the things that I asked. I appreciate you. Thank you for doing that. What does that do? It builds confidence in your child. It builds competence and courage in your child, whether you're a man or a woman. Whether you're a man or a woman. If those statements sound familiar, you may practice authoritative parenting. Yes, you have a positive relationship. You consider their feelings. You give praise and rewards. Now, this style of parenting is considered to be the gold standard, meaning it's considered higher on the list. So if you have a school-aged child and you show up to those parent-teacher conferences, you go to report card pickup, you come to the PTA meeting, you're involved in the school, this is the gold standard of parenting. Your child is well behaved, not only in the home, but outside the home. The child is responsible. The child is aware of the consequences that may be placed upon them if they are out in the community and something happens to them. So it's very, very important to understand your style of parenting. And if you are any of the other three types of parent, it's important to try to at least reach the level of an authoritative parent. Authoritative parents provide their children with rules and boundaries, but they also give them the freedom to make decisions. Wow. Rules and boundaries, but decisions to make decisions. Very unique. With an authoritative parenting style, parents validate their children's feelings while also making it clear that the adults are ultimately in charge. See a kid out the summer camp? Yes, they have feelings, but this person's in charge. I'll leave someone to babysit you. This person's in charge. We have to be very considerate of that. But we also have to express that and let the child be aware of there are adults that are in charge. They invest time and energy into preventing behavior problems before they start. Yes, you're having these conversations with your child. You're connecting your children with positive influences within the community or your home or family. You're doing that. You're allowing those relationships to be developed with the other parent who may not be in the home. They also use positive discipline strategies. Yes, there's going to be discipline and consequences for your action, but it's not going to be anything to really put your child's in a mind space of depression. They're going to be able to see their wrongs and right those wrongs moving forward. Again, they will use praise and rewards to reinforce positive behavior. Like I said, you get an A this week on your test, we can get you that new video game. We can go to the amusement park. But the expectation is what it is. They can't come home with a C on the test and we still go to the amusement park because the expectation was to get an A. Authoritative parents view mistakes as learning experiences. Yes. I wish more adults would adapt this behavior. You made mistakes. You fucked up. But use it as a learning experience to do better. What we say, when we know better, we do better. So it's a learning experience. Being a parent is a learning experience. Being a child at a certain age, that's just a learning experience. I don't know what it's like to be 60 years old, but I can tell you what it's like to be 52. What it's like to be 48, 45, 30. I can tell you what it's like from my experience. So you have to go through that learning experience to understand what those experiences are like. We have clear expectations for our children. Yes, we do. We set an expectation, we explain it, and we move forward. They are nurturing and warm. I like to give hugs and man hugs. Man hug is when you hit the 5 with the hand, sort of lock the hands. The way we do it, we hit it while our hands are sort of locked, and then bring the other hand, place it around the back, couple of taps, maybe a fist tap, whatever. Sometimes, you grow the head or whatever. But men do that now. When we go to the barber shop, when we go to the basketball court, and we see our friends at the park, we'll roll up on each other, hit it with the 5, lock hand, hug, and that's it. That's a form of affirmation, a form of respect. And the same thing can happen with our children. Just give them a little affirmation that they are smart, they are beautiful, they can do it. And a little hug at the end always boosts confidence. Always. My father used to come to my parents came to my football games, but my father used to always yell out. When I was young, I didn't understand it. Then when I started looking around, he was one of the very few fathers that was there. So as I got older, I appreciated it. And then when I got in high school, he used to always carry my helmet back to the locker room for me. It was crazy. But that was just part of him being a father. When I play sports, my children play sports, I just try to be there. And I would do the same thing I heard from my father. I would be yelling and screaming, block, run, good hit, good tackle. I didn't care what the other hundreds of people looking at me said. Didn't nobody say nothing to me. But I thought at the time that was the way to be a good parent. And I had to explain to my children, hey, look, I'm going to be there. I'm going to yell because I'm not going to be disrespectful to the coaches, to the officials, anything like that. I believe in playing good, fair sports. Fair. Be fair. because I'm going to play by the rules. I don't care how I feel about it. I'm going to play by the rules. So, again, it's all a learning experience. There's no perfect way to be a parent, but there are styles that we can adapt regardless of where we are in our parenting style to make our lives better, to make our children's lives better. Because once you understand the importance of responsibility and discipline, it would do our children a fucking, oh my God. It would make their lives so much easier. It will make our lives so much easier. Again, we all learn differently, different times in our life, but I can guarantee it's very beneficial. Ladies and gentlemen, please hit the like, share, subscribe to Trey Ferg, the Player Coach. Hit the like, share, subscribe to Trey Ferg, the Player Coach, ladies and gentlemen. And this is our last slide of the day about the parenting styles. Neglectful parent, permissive parent, authoritarian parent, and we have the authoritative parent. And how does the authoritative parent style affect our children? Children raised with authoritative parenting tend to be happy, confident, and successful. They're also more likely to make sound decisions and evaluate safety risks on their own. Very important. Happy, confident, and successful. So if they have the confidence, which will lead to success, will ultimately bring them happiness. So if they have the confidence, which will lead to success, will ultimately bring them happiness. They will make sound decisions and evaluate the safety risks on their own. Did those two young men in Chicago think about the safety decision? No. They just did something impulsively. They didn't think about the risk. And if they did, they disregarded that risk. One of those individuals was following another poor decision making. Authoritative parenting is linked to academic achievement, heightened self-esteem, and resiliency. Despite things being difficult, they will find a way to overcome, despite it, which is very, very important in the development of a young mind. Very important in the development of a young mind. Kids with authoritative parents tend to have the following positive outcomes: close, nurturing relationships with parents, and I would add siblings, relatives, everybody involved in their life. There's going to be a positive relationship. Tendency to be responsible and respectful. Yes, responsible, respectful. Ability to manage their aggression. Nobody's saying don't get angry. Hell yeah, get angry. If it's something that angers you, and it's very important to you, yeah. But also, you have to learn how to manage your anger. Instead of hitting the wall, get you a punching bag. So every time you get mad, you just go down there and wear that damn punching bag out. Kick it, punch it, throw it, whatever it takes. Lift some weights. You'll be amazed at how much weight you can push when you're angry, when you have all that adrenaline and testosterone raging in your body. And this applies for both men and women. Go for a run. Do some push-ups. Do something to alleviate that aggression. But you have to practice it. High degrees of self-esteem, yes, confidence and self-regulation. Everything ain't important. If I can't control it, then there's no need for me to get angry. Self-esteem. Yes, I believe I look good. I know I look good despite what others think. Self confidence. I know I can achieve it. I will achieve it. I can achieve it. I achieved it. That's the type of self fortitude young people will be able to take on because with an authoritative parent, they're fully engaged. They're allowing their children to speak about their feelings in certain situations. They're allowing them the freedom to make the mistakes and learn from those mistakes. They're more likely to be happy and successful. Again, tend to be happy, confident, and successful. Ability to clearly express their emotions. They're expressing how they feel. I used to do a check-in with students about PIES, physically, intellectually, emotionally, and spiritually. How do you feel? Sad, mad, glad, happy, frustrated, angry. Those are feelings, not I'm good. Good is not a feeling. So we would identify those words and we will elaborate within those words and the meaning of those words as they apply to that individual. Kids who are parented authoritatively can be trusted to make the right decision on your own. Wow. When your child is outside of your presence, will they make the right decision? Will they make the right decision? It's very important to a child. It's very important to a parent. Again, if you're giving the child the proper rearing, the proper information to make the best sound decision, it's very beneficial. They often set high expectations for themselves. See, the child has a high expectation now because they entrust the information that you give them to get the best outcome. So now they have this high expectation. They'll understand what's right from wrong, regardless of whose presence that they're in, their friends, other family members. And a lot of times we see that. Relatives will lead another relative down the wrong road. These children may also perform well academically and socially. So they're going to perform well in school. Excuse me. They're going to be able to establish friendships, long-lasting friendships. They're going to have positive relationships of the opposite sex. Because you can see how all of these parenting styles play a role and intersect with each other in some capacity. Because as we saw that in the neglectful parent, that children lack poor decision making. But if you're an authoritative style of parent, your children may develop positive and successful ways of thinking. See, in some capacity, they go hand in hand. They're less likely to misuse drugs than alcohol. Boy, if we can get the young, I would say the teenagers, because they're doing a lot more smoking than drinking now. They're smoking a little too much. So much that they can't function normally without it. They're drinking harsh alcohol, which entail not only gets them drunk in the moment, inebriated in the moment, but it also starts to affect their internal organs. It puts them in a space of also having to depend on that substance. So it's important to recognize our styles. If we can recognize our styles early and often and practice those styles to get the best result, the best outcome, it's a win-win for everybody, ladies and gentlemen. It's a win-win for everybody. So I just wanted to take the time today to just talk about, a little parenting styles, just to help someone. I know school's ready to start, and a couple of weeks for some of us, depending on what part of the country you are. Please just take the time to understand who you are as a parent. Our children are older. We're older. We want the best for our children, whether it's a young man or a young woman. We want the best outcome for them. So I just wanted to throw a little parenting nuggets out there. Again, I'm not the best parent. Never would claim to be. Fucked up a lot. But at the same time, it's a never-ending job for myself. And I'm sure some of you are finding out that it's a never-ending job for you. You want the best for your children, regardless of the mistakes we may have made, regardless of some of our, outcomes that may not have been so beneficial to us. We want the best for our children. We want the best. And I just wanted to take a little time today to just bring this to you all. Again, I appreciate everybody coming through. Timotheus, 907 Good Eats. Listen, I appreciate y'all. White School Podcast. Anybody that's out there, do not be afraid to seek the information that you need to be a better person, to be a better parent. If you can't figure it out by yourself, find someone else who can assist you. Again, our preference is always someone who may not know you, because they will give you more than likely unbiased information. It's a never-ending process. And I wish all of you all the best, good health, prosperity. Love your children to the greatest of your ability. I myself need to be better at listening, taking feelings into account. So again, I just want to thank you all. Shout out to all my concrete content creators, BMU Network. Go check them out. Great conversations 7 days a week, especially the one-on-one sports show on Wednesday, 8 p.m. Hunting Wisdom, Miss Dee, White School Podcast, 907 Good. Now, you want to learn how to eat? Go check out 907 Good Eats. She gonna have your whole family over, had to work on your exercise habits. Check it out. Who else? My man, Timotheus and Morphine. I love spending time with them. Izzy Bands, DJ Hemp. Who else? Single by Choices. I know I'm forgetting Marriage, Politics, and Sports. Lost in Translation. Hassan. Telford, What It Is, TV. Dr. Frizzle Frost. The Drip Show. Freezy. No Captivity with Freezy. I've spent some time on all of these shows. I love, just engaging with them, discussing some of the topics that they present. They all have been sort of influential in making me want to, just embark on this journey. Again, I'm not looking to get rich off of it. I'm just wanting to provide a space where I can provide information. Some information, others, we may already know. Some of us may not. I'm just going to continue to push forward. 56 years old, retired, just for trying to find something to do and to help somebody get to a space that's better than what they are. So again, I appreciate you all stopping by. It's Saturday. It's still early. I'm going to get outside, get me some sun, go see what they're doing out on the block. And until then, ladies and gentlemen, again, I am Trey Ferg at the Player Coach. I appreciate you coming through today, ladies and gentlemen. And again, Enjoy your evening. Salute. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.